Ed Gallagher here, professor of Christian scripture at Heritage Christian University in Florence, Alabama. I am in the reference room of our library, the Overton Memorial Library, on the campus of Heritage Christian University. I've got this new book that's just been published this year, and our library just got a copy of it. It is called The Invisible Source of Authority: God in a Secular Age by David Walsh. Now, probably this would not have stopped me, except I saw the publishing company. It's published by Notre Dame, University of Notre Dame. Yeah, the American one, the Fighting Irish, that Notre Dame. So I mean I don't see a whole lot of books published by Notre Dame. So I thought, that's interesting, worth checking out. So you can see it's not a big book. The text, it does have end notes, so you got to deal with the end notes. But the text stops on page 150, and then you've got 20 pages worth of notes followed by an index. You've got in the 150 pages of text, you've got six chapters. Chapter one is how can we forget what we must remember? Chapter 2, the spiritual escapes us. I don't know what this stuff means. Chapter 3, symbols hide what they say. Chapter 4, atheism is impossible in practice. Chapter 5, God beyond being. And chapter 6, the invisible source of authority. Now, it sounds like an apologetics book to me, but it's published by Notre Dame. No doubt it's going to be a pretty good apologetics book. But this guy, David Walsh, is professor of politics at the Catholic University of America. Um, and according to the back description of the book, um, says, drawing on the writings of early modern thinkers like Montaigne, Descartes, and Grotius, Walsh asserts that God's absence from the secular world is testimony to God's transcendence. Because the secular is always that which has withdrawn from serving God, Walsh suggests that this presupposition proves that God remains indispensable to the self-understanding of secular society. Hmm. I don't know if I'm going to read the book. It might be too hard for me. It sounds like it probably gets into like philosophy and might not be the easiest thing to read, but I'm glad to know it's there and I might get around to reading it sometime. Sort of reminds me, maybe a little bit of another book that came out this year that the library also has a copy of. I just haven't done one of these videos on it, but it's Ross Douthat, New York Times columnist, his new book called Believe, in which he says that everybody ought to believe. Just that I have read that book. It's an excellent book, published by Zondervan, 2025. But Douthat makes the argument that the so-called disenchanted age in which we live in is actually not disenchanted from the perspective that there's all kinds of people all around. Certainly people not in America, but then also people in America that have these transcendent experiences. They are having enchanted experiences. So the idea that we live in a disenchanted age is mythical itself. So I wonder how that idea, of course, Douthat is a New York Times columnist. This guy is a professor at Catholic University of America. But Douthat is also Catholic, I'll say. They might have different perspectives on things, but it sort of sounds like that David Walsh, I haven't read the book. It sort of sounds like this guy is saying that the fact that we live in a disenchanted age is actually like proof of God's existence or something like this, or transcendence. Although I'm getting that from the blurb on the back. Don't take my word for it. If you're interested in that kind of thing, you might want to check this book out, The Invisible Source of Authority. If you live in the Shoals area, you can come and take a look at the library's copy here on the campus of Heritage Christian University.